September 11th, 2001, a day that changed the world forever. Before we begin, remember to like, share, and subscribe for more powerful stories from history. It was a clear, calm Tuesday morning in New York City. Millions started their day, unaware that life would soon be changed forever. At 7:59 a.m., American Airlines Flight 11 took off from Boston Logan Airport, heading for Los Angeles. Passengers settled into their seats, sipping coffee and reading newspapers. It felt like any normal flight. But among them were 5 men with a deadly mission, trained members of Al-Qaeda. Within minutes of takeoff, the hijackers made their move and took control of the aircraft. Meanwhile, in Manhattan, the Twin Towers stood tall, glowing under the morning sun. Air traffic controllers noticed Flight 11 had gone silent and veered off course. Something was terribly wrong. At 8:46 a.m., Flight 11 crashed into the North Tower of the World Trade Center. A massive explosion tore through the building. New York froze. No one could believe what they were seeing. Newsrooms across America broke the story live. Many thought it was a tragic accident, not realizing more was to come. 17 minutes later, another plane, United Airlines Flight 175, took off from Boston. In Manhattan, people filled the streets, staring up at the burning North Tower in shock. At 9:03 a.m., Flight 175 struck the South Tower, and the world instantly knew this was an attack. Across the globe, televisions lit up. America was under attack, and the world watched in horror. At 9:37 a.m., American Airlines Flight 77 crashed into the Pentagon, the heart of U.S. defense. Smoke rose from Washington, D.C. The nation was in chaos. President George W. Bush, visiting a school in Florida, was told, "America is under attack." Meanwhile, a fourth plane, United Airlines Flight 93, had also been hijacked. On board, passengers made desperate phone calls and learned of the earlier attacks. Realizing their fate, they united to fight back, choosing courage over surrender. Their struggle ended in a field in Pennsylvania, saving countless lives on the ground. For planes, for attacks, one morning that changed the course of history. In New York, firefighters rushed into the burning towers, climbing floor after floor to save others. At 9:59 a.m., the South Tower collapsed, vanishing into a cloud of dust and smoke. Thousands ran through the streets as debris rained down and darkness filled the air. Amid the chaos, firefighters and police officers risked everything to pull survivors to safety. At 10:28 a.m., the North Tower fell, the final blow to the heart of New York. In less than 2 hours, both towers were gone. The skyline had changed forever. Anchors struggled to find words. The entire world stood still, watching history unfold in disbelief. Families searched desperately for loved ones, clinging to hope that they were still alive. Hospitals prepared for waves of survivors, but far too few arrived. By noon, the World Trade Center site had become ground zero, a scene of unimaginable devastation. That evening, President Bush addressed the nation, vowing that those responsible would face justice. Around the world, nations stood in solidarity, their monuments lit in America's colors. At Ground Zero, 3 firefighters raised the American flag, a symbol of hope amid the ruins. Volunteers from across the country poured into New York to help, offering supplies and compassion. Walls filled with photos of the missing, faces of ordinary people who became part of history. Investigators traced the attacks to Al-Qaeda, led by Osama bin Laden in Afghanistan. Standing on the rubble, President Bush declared, "The people who knocked these buildings down will hear from us soon." Within weeks, the United States launched Operation Enduring Freedom in Afghanistan. The war on terror had begun, a mission to dismantle Al-Qaeda and eliminate its safe havens. In cities worldwide, candlelight vigils honored the nearly 3,000 innocent lives lost that day. Among them were 343 firefighters and 72 police officers who gave their lives to save others. Families buried heroes, fathers, mothers, friends, whose bravery will never be forgotten. For months, crews worked tirelessly to clear the ruins, uncovering fragments of lives lost. Years later, a new tower rose from the ashes, One World Trade Center, a symbol of resilience. At the site now stands the 9/11 Memorial, pools of reflection where the towers once stood. Today, the New York skyline shines again, proof that courage and unity can rebuild anything. September 11th will never be forgotten. Honor their memory. Like, share, and subscribe for more stories that shaped our world.